All right, hello there, thrill seekers. I'm still here in Munich, and I noticed when I was watching my last video that I'm kind of squinking, to paraphrase Popeye. I'm kind of squinting. That's because it's a little bit bright out here, so apologies for the squinting. This is my last day in Germany, or last full day in Germany, and tomorrow I am heading to England, and I will be doing a retreat at Hebden Bridge, England, which is between Manchester and Leeds in the hills. And if you want to go to that retreat, you can write to hebdenzen@gmail.com. I'll put it on the bottom of the screen there for you. I'm pretty sure it's not sold out. September 7th through 10th is the retreat, and I'm pretty sure they allow people to do partial, but you'll have to ask them for the details on that. So I thought I'd do a little bit more talking about what I talked about yesterday and kind of see if I can relate it to what the difference is between that and Zen. Because I looked up a little bit more of this. I mentioned in the previous video, if you haven't watched it, a guy who wrote to me who was into this kind of law of attraction thing, and it had to do with greed and getting stuff and whatever. And I looked at one of their videos this morning. I couldn't even make my way all the way through it, but it was the basic message about meditation was that you should meditate until you feel an impulse, which comes from your vortex or your something. They had all these words that I don't know. I couldn't follow because all these little groups have special language that they use, which is one of the things that always annoys me about little groups like that. And so you meditate until the impulse comes up, and the impulse might be to the trans-channeled being gave the example of the person meditating. The person who is trans-channeling is meditating until they got an impulse to buy a piece of furniture, and how, I might think that it would be better to have an impulse towards world peace or something like that, but an impulse towards a piece of furniture is just as good. And then you get this impulse, and then you go find the piece of furniture that you desire at the shop. And I thought that was kind of interesting because years ago, many, many years ago, one of the early weird effects of Zazen, and I shouldn't speak about this because it sounds a little bit, spooky or whatever, is I would get an impulse to know where certain records were. This is in the time when there were a lot more record stores than there are now. And there were a lot of little used record shops around where I lived, around Kent, Ohio, because Kent, Ohio was a college town, and back in them days, college students bought records. I guess they do again now, so that's interesting. It's kind of come around again. Now college students buy records again. Anyway, and I would just get an impulse to go to a certain store, and I'd go to the certain store, and there would be the record I was looking for. It was really a weird sort of thing, and I could have made a whole philosophy of the vortex about it, and how that was good, and how it was, acquiring things was great, and getting stuff was great. And I looked at the page of this group, and they're huge. My God, they must be making tons of money on this philosophy. Maybe I should get into this because, I don't make that much money, but it looks like they must be raking in millions, literally millions, because they're doing cruises, they're doing seminars, they're doing all these things, and everything costs a bunch of money to attend, and people are paying money to be told what they want to hear and have it couched in a sort of spiritual language to make it sound somehow better than it is. If you're just like, I want to get a Mercedes and a fur coat, it doesn't sound very good. But if you can put it into spiritual language, wanting a Mercedes and a fur coat, you can make it sound kind of cool, I guess, or at least they do. Sorry for the noise. As I was thinking about this, I came across something I'd put up on Instagram. I have an Instagram page. I'm not telling you should follow it. You should actually follow Ziggy's Instagram page, which is Ziggy Zendog. Ziggy Zendog, one word, in Instagram. But The one I put up on my own Instagram page was a quote from Huang Po. And Huang Po is also known as Obaku. If you read Japanese stuff, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again. It took me years to figure that out, and I feel really dumb because I do know something about Japanese and the Japanese language because I lived there for so long and had to speak it all the time. But I never realized for years that Obaku and Huang Po were the same person, because Dogen praises Obaku to the skies in Shobogenzo, and all along there was this book that I kept seeing called the Zen Teachings of Huang Po, and I never really bothered with it because there's those Zen teachings of everybody is out there, so I didn't bother with it. And then years later I realized, oh, that's the guy that Dogen loves, so I started reading him. And here is a quote from the guy that Dogen loved, Huang Po, and I just put this up on Instagram. I know it's page 36 of the Zen Teachings of Huang Po, but I don't, that's the sort of standard translation of it. So I'm going to read it to you and then see if we can talk about it. This pure mind, the source of everything, shines forever and on all with the brilliance of its own perfection. But the people of the world do not awake to it, regarding only that which sees, hears, feels, and knows as mind. So this is an important distinction, because what is called idealism in the Western terms, and even the sort of more advanced idealism of the newer sort of idealists like Bernardo Kastrup, is they're talking about that which sees, hears, feels, and knows. That's what they're talking about as mind. But the Zen people are saying that which sees, feels, and hears, and knows, that's not what they're talking about when they're talking about mind. So they're talking about something much deeper than that. Blinded by their own sight, hearing, feeling, and knowing, they do not perceive the spiritual brilliance of the source substance. Probably that word spiritual is maybe ill-advised, but I probably the translator couldn't think of a better word, but because spiritual tends to be contrasted with material, but as we'll see near the end of the quote, Huang Po does not make that contrast, and neither does Dogen. If only they would eliminate all conceptual thought in a flash, that source substance would manifest itself like the sun ascending through the void and illuminating the whole universe without hindrance or bounds. Therefore, if you students of the way seek to progress through seeing, hearing, feeling, and knowing, when you are deprived of your perceptions, your way to mind will be cut off. So when you're deprived of your perception, seeing, hearing, feeling, knowing is considered one of the perceptions by Buddhists. Your way to mind will be cut off, and you will find nowhere to enter. Only realize that, though real mind is expressed in these perceptions, so this all behind me and everything here, this is also an expression of mind. So material universe is an expression of mind. And though it is, let's read it again. Only realize that though real mind is expressed in these perceptions, it neither forms part of them nor is separate from them. You should not start reasoning from these perceptions. This is something Nishijima Roshi used to like to say. He would say your perceptions are wrong, and your conceptions, your reasoning based on perceptions, is also dubious. Nor allow them to give rise to conceptual thought. Easier said than done, but let's keep going. Yet, nor should you seek the one mind apart from them. So don't seek the one mind apart from these perceptions, this stuff around you. Or abandon the perceptions in your pursuit of the Dharma. So you don't abandon the material world in pursuit of the Dharma, which a lot of people try to do. Do not keep them, nor abandon them, nor dwell in them, nor cleave to them. Okay, you're given very few options here, Huang Po. You're not given us much. Above, below, and all around you, all is spontaneously existing. All of this. For there is nowhere which is outside the Buddha mind. So all of this stuff that you perceive and you feel and you think about and you know is kind of a manifestation of the one mind, but it is not the one mind. The one mind is something deeper than that, and that's what we're kind of reaching for when we're doing our Zazen practice. What we're kind of doing is dwelling in the one mind that is everything. And I know that most of the time when we just do Zazen, and this is true for me just as much as anybody else. It doesn't feel like you're dwelling in the one mind. It just kind of feels like you're looking at a wall and wondering why the hell you're looking at a wall. But trust me, as I trusted my teachers, that the one mind is manifesting itself even in your delusion. So, when I see this stuff, people getting hoodwinked into this spiritual stuff, so-called spiritual stuff, that they're going to spend a lot of money on, that teaches them to chase their illusions, teaches you to chase your perceptions. So I'm chasing my perceptions when I get one of these, an iPhone or whatever it is. I need to get a new one because this one's starting to wear out. It's been around. It's elderly for an iPhone. Anyway, when you're chasing the new thing, or when I'm chasing a new record, I bought 3 damn records yesterday. I should show them to you on this channel, but they're inside. Anyway, you're chasing perceptions. You're chasing the perception. Like I'm going to be happy by having this new perception, which is the feeling the record in my hand and listening to the record and having the record in my collection, whatever it is. See, I give records as an example, but it's a terrible example because normal people don't care about those things. The thing you care about, the thing that you want, the thing that's driving you to get, that's just it's another perception. Including, this is the weird thing, including enlightenment itself can be turned into like another perception that you want to get. I want to get the perception of the enlightened state and enjoy that perception and have that perception be mine. I want it to be my enlightenment that I'm going to hold on to, and then, if somebody wants to see it, I don't have a jacket on, but I can hold on my jacket and go, look, here's my enlightenment. Imagine I have a raincoat on and I'm showing you something clandestine, You can treat even enlightenment like that. But that's not what we're doing. And I don't know. I just find it so sad that people get hoodwinked into these pseudo-spiritual things, because there's so much more of it than there is. I'll get my retreat in Benedictushof was the biggest one I've done so far. Actually, I did one years ago in the Netherlands that was more people but less time. It was a 1-day retreat that had 70 people. This was a 5-day retreat that had almost 50 people. I think it was 46. But 46 people compared to what I saw on the internet when I looked up this trans-channeled guru from whatever, area. That's nothing. I'm small potatoes. Actually, I talked to one guy who was trying to get me involved in one of these spiritual cruises where a spiritual teacher will go on a cruise and then teach spiritual things during the cruise. And after a little bit of back and forth talking to this guy, it was decided that I wasn't on their radar. Like I was way too small for them to even bother with, which was kind of a relief, because by the time I heard what this whole thing was about, I was just like, yeah, I don't want to do that anyway. But there you go. So this stuff is really popular, and people love it, and they clamor for it. But it's just another thing. It's just another, it's just another manifestation of the materialistic, acquisitional thing, and even these kind of things that teach you to go for enlightenment experiences is just another manifestation of acquiring things to perceive and to make mine. And what we're looking at is something more like what Wang Po or Obaku was talking about, which is the one mind that manifests as everything, including me. So there you go. Anyway, if you want to donate to having me say more stuff like this on the internet, you can go to the URL that you're seeing on the screen below, which is hardcorezen.info/donate. That is hardcorezen.info, somewhere around there, right in the middle, /donate, hardcorezen.info/donate. That's where you'll find my PayPal and Patreon links, and that's my main way of making a living, even though I'm out here leading retreats and stuff. That's all nice, but still my main source of income is you guys sending $1 or $5. So I really appreciate it. But as always, you don't got to donate if you don't want to donate. All right, we'll see you next time. Have a good time all the time. It might be a while before I can make another video. We shall see, because I'm going to be busy once I get to England. All right, see you later. Bye. Ziggy, what are you seeing? What's out there that's so weird? That rock? Is the rock what you're seeing that you're barking at? Well,